Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Take the North podcast, along with Dan Wiederer of the Chicago Tribune and a Score contributor as well. I am Mark Grote from Chicago Sports Radio 670 The Score. Our producer, as always, is Adam Stadzinski, and the Bears coming off of this torrential, terrible, tragic 19-3 win to the lowly Patriots at Soldier Field, 19-3, and that score may not be indicative of how wrecked the Bears felt after that game. Yesterday after the game, or on Sunday after the game, Matt Eberflus hinted at potential change, as in leading all the possibilities open. Dan and I were there for his press conference on Monday to discuss potential change. Dan, today, he again pretty much said the same things that he said on Sunday, and that was that everything is being considered for change. It sounds like there will be change, but no change was made at least as of Monday morning. Are you surprised that no change was made and then he wasn't a little bit more forthright and ready to strike after this colossal loss to the Patriots?
I am never surprised when the Bears don't make changes, nor am I ever surprised when the Bears aren't forthright. And so this was kind of par for the course for Matt Eberflus today. I'm troubled by it. I'm troubled by the fact that the head coach shows a level of indecision and wishy-washiness that just leaves you unsettled with how they're going to rectify all that went wrong on Sunday in a embarrassing, stunning, miserable loss to a bad football team that didn't play well. Something's got to change. Mets at least acknowledge that. I think by the time we get out to practice on Wednesday afternoon, there will be something significant that has been changed. But the inability to clearly communicate and stress what they're going to do with this offense that is clearly broken now in these last 3 weeks is a bit troubling. I don't know if you read between the lines like I did in that room at Halas Hall today, but it sure feels like Shane Waldron is on the shakiest ground. Matt would not even confirm that Shane Waldron would have a job on Wednesday, which leads you to believe that there are some serious ongoing discussions at Halas Hall about what needs to happen. I don't know, man. I don't know how we got here in the span of 16 days from the anticipation that was building before that Commanders game in Washington to this point where the season seems like it's in complete free fall.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the obvious thing here, Dan, is, as you said, Shane Waldron is on shaky ground. Now, to what degree he is on shaky ground, that's the part that I don't know. What I keep hearing, and this is probably just because we all, as a media, we all talk and we come up with ideas, and it gets out there, and everybody says, "Oh, well, you just demote him, or you kick him up front, you make him the offensive coordinator, and then you have Thomas Brown or whomever call the plays." Enough with that stuff. Enough. Waldron's voice has not been heard by the players at Halas Hall. Almost literally for a while, when Mercedes Lewis, Dan, came out and said, we need more from this guy. So unfortunately for Shane Waldron, his message has not gotten through the players. He has actively probably hurt this offense because he hasn't gotten things right or compromised. So the idea of having him around these players still at practices, helping to coordinate, guiding Thomas Brown or whomever it is, that's half measures, man. And that is not one. We don't need Mark Helfrich or Bill Lazor back in the building.
Get ready for half measure central at 1920 Football Drive. I won't rule that out. I'm with you in terms of the philosophy and the theory on it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Shane Waldron was demoted rather than dismissed. Now, to your point, if you are 9 games into a season and you put a vote of confidence in your head coach and empowered him to replace Luke Getsy with his hand-selected offensive coordinator heading into the most important season in recent Bears history, and that fails after 9 games, you're going to have to blow the whole thing up. I'm sorry, you can't trust Matt Eberflus to go out and choose another offensive coordinator when he has proven that he can't do it, that he has no track record of developing a young quarterback, didn't get the most out of Justin Fields, isn't getting the most out of Caleb Williams, hasn't been able to unite with an offensive coordinator that he's in sync with. These are the big picture stakes and ramifications that are happening right now for a team that has lost these 3 games. And again, it's more than the losses. It's the fact that you've gone 2 consecutive games without visiting the damn end zone, right? And so this Bears offense has to find a way to get unlocked. It may not happen fully within this season, but as I talked about on the midday show on 670 The Score this afternoon, your top priority outside of making the playoffs in 2024 has to be getting Caleb Williams across the finish line of his rookie season with momentum and belief so that there's direction for 2025 and beyond. And right now, you cannot stay the course that you're on.
We're going to play some Matt Eberflus here in a second, just so our Take the North audience can hear all the questions in regards to change, and including there was a question asked about Caleb Williams and whether or not he needs to sit down for whatever reason. But I want to ask you a question about Caleb Williams before we get that. Do you think that the Bears overestimated what Caleb Williams could handle this early in his rookie year?
It's possible. Yeah. I think it's absolutely possible that that's the case. You need to get him comfortable sooner rather than later, because those 18 sacks the last 3 weeks take their toll, and the confidence of the quarterback goes down, the frustration of the offense goes up, and you've got no rhythm or cohesion or chemistry or rapport or production or points or direction or moment. What other word you want to use? I mean, you've got to figure out a way to get this young quarterback back in a healthy headspace that allows him to play at the level that we've seen he has the talent to play at.
Because I think that has something to do with it, that they have this product that they bought into, just like the rest of us. And again, I still think Caleb Williams is going to be great. That they thought, we're going to hit the ground running. We have this team in place. We are about winning. So we're going to let this guy audible. We're going to let him change. We're going to let him make decisions. He seems to have passed the intellectual test. And so in theory, I liked what the offense has been trying to do. Unfortunately, they haven't made the proper adjustments for Caleb Williams, for the offensive line, for the wide receivers, or any of that. We can get more into Caleb as time goes on. Let's bring you some of Matt Eberflus, though, the Bears head coach.
Let's do it again. Monday.
But yeah. Here it is again. Dan and I were both, you will hear both of our voices here in this super cut, as we call it, from Matt Eberflus from Halas Hall on Monday, with Wiederer and Grote sitting in the audience.
There will be changes, adjustments being made. Again, I'm not going to disclose those right now. I'm not at that point in the process. Monday's a long day, in terms of the evaluation of everything, in terms of, lineups, in terms of the, coaching, in terms of how we need to do better, in that coaching, and how we need to do better in the communication in game, during the game, after the game, prior to the game. So it's important that we take time to make those decisions and make the right decisions. That's for the Bears.
When it comes to changes and adjustments, what all is under consideration here?
Yeah, I mean, just in-game communication, in terms of that, it's got to be better. The adjustments, the tactical adjustments need to be better. With that, on all sides, and everything's on the table. And it's important that we look at everything and we take the time to get that done.
What is the process and the timeline for you of getting to the end of that?
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be fairly quick. I just think that right now it's to come out here less than 24 hours and make all those changes or the changes that you want to make and state. When I have those answers, I'll get them to you. And I'm just not at that point right now.
Matt, are you going to make a change at quarterback?
No, Caleb is our starter.
Will Shane remain on the staff this week?
Like I said, the process of that, we're going through that right now. And all those adjustments and changes and things that we're going to do, we're still in the evaluation phase of that.
Yeah, will the offensive captains on this team have a say in a potential change at play caller, if there was to be?
Yeah, I talked to the guys about everything. I talked to them about, in terms of, the temperature of the team, how the guys are doing chemistry-wise, how the relationships are between each guy. I don't visit with players about play callers and all that stuff. That's for the coaches.
As you evaluate your options with the offensive play caller, aside from 3 high point totals against bad defenses, what is the case for continuing on with Shane at this point?
Well, we're in the evaluation phase of that, and it's important that we're using all the people in the building, on the coaching staff, getting all the input, and putting our minds together to come up with the best answer. And that's where we are right now. And again, we got to look at that this afternoon as well.
Yeah, Matt, is this decision yours and yours alone, or does it come in consultation?
It's my decision, mine alone. Yes, sir.
Man, what's Ryan Poles involvement in this decision, and does he have to clear whatever you do?
Yeah, I'm in constant communication with Ryan Poles as he is with me. So we'll work together. But again, it's ultimately my decision.
Same old stuff. I mean, really, in a lot of ways, other than the fact that we have inched closer, I guess, to a change. We're almost there. There's almost a Shane Waldron demotion or firing coming. But again, Dan, you know what really stuck out to me that time listening to that, and this is now the third time that I've gone through this audio and heard it, in-game communication. How many times can there be in-game communication issues within a game? I mean, that's a huge indictment.
You see Shane Waldron with Caleb Williams on the sideline frequently during games between series. That clearly isn't working. I would assume that in-game communication involves that, and that maybe Shane Waldron goes upstairs. Maybe Thomas Brown or someone else comes down to be the voice in Caleb's ear during the game. I don't know. I don't know where they're going to lean with these final decisions. Matt needs to make a decision, and he needs to announce a decision, and he needs to put this stuff behind them. It bothers me that this is so reflective of what happened 2 weeks ago with Tyreek Stevenson, where it was just like, yeah, we're going to talk about it. We're going to figure out what we're going to do with Tyreek. We're not going to tell anyone. And it just drags and it drags and it drags. And it leaves.
Yeah, I think he was caught off guard the first time he was asked about that on the Monday after.
Yeah.
And somebody asked him about that. And he's like, for what? What? Like he needed further, like, whoa, we got to punish this guy? I don't think he realized.
Like this, like, you know, and there's too many moments, Grote, where he seems caught off guard by what the job of head coach in the NFL entails. And so that it's like, you're going to let this drag out into Tuesday and Wednesday and possibly Thursday, and you leave your players with this feeling like things are unsettled and that things are unclear and that things are unstable. And then all of a sudden you get the results that you've gotten the last 3 weeks where there is no direction, there is no stability, there is no sense of where things go. Let me just read you this list that I put together on X on Monday morning, because this was the losses in the Matt Eberflus era that I deemed as holy S losses, right?
Okay.
2022 lost to the Lions 41-10. If you ever want to hear one of the more fiery rants that I'll ever give, go find the post-game podcast from that New Year's Day in Detroit. That was ugly. Last year, you know about the Packers opener. You know about Chiefs, Broncos, Lions, and Browns. We've talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the feeling it advances. 2024. Well, guess what? The last 3 weeks, all three of them qualify as holy S losses. Commanders, Cardinals, Patriots. All ugly in their own ways. I had 10 other losses in the Matt Eberflus era that I deemed as ugly losses, and only 6 wins during that time that are deemed impressive wins. When are the people upstairs at Halas Hall going to start asking the critical questions about what this track record tells you about your coach and the direction of this franchise?
And if they didn't see a team that had given up, maybe I'm naive.
No juice.
None. And so they had to have noticed that. Ryan Poles and his decision, his decision only. No, that can't be the case at this point. Look, maybe that was the rule coming in. You get to hire your assistants, and that is understandable. But at this point, Matt Eberflus himself should be on thin ice. And you don't have to fire the guy if you're Ryan Poles, but you certainly have to impose your will and do things differently and tell your head coach that we're going to do things differently as well. I don't want Matt Eberflus deciding who, like, if it obviously Thomas Brown, if they're going to, if they're going to promote somebody from within, okay, that's Flus, because it doesn't matter at this point. It doesn't matter who the play caller is going to be. But going forward, if Flus is the last, there's no way he can have his hands on this next hire if there is to be one.
Grote, how about the fact that Matt Eberflus's Monday started where he did his usual day after game radio interview with the competitive station up the road, and his cell phone cut out 3 different times, causing the very affable David Kaplan to be triggered and go off and create the viral moment. And I wrote about it in the column for ChicagoTribune.com. We thought we got out of the Patriots loss without a viral moment. We had Tyreek Stevenson on the Hail Mary, DJ Moore running to the bench in Arizona. We thought we got out of the Patriots loss without a nationwide viral moment. And then the Flus's phone goes out 3 times and Cap goes off. By the way, you're the perfect person to bring this up to, because previously the head coach, when the Bears were under the umbrella of WBBM, would go on with Josh Liss of WBBM, who had a great bedside manner for losses like yesterday's, and we'd say, Coach, that was a real difficult loss you experienced at Soldier Field on Sunday. What was your takeaways from that loss?
Right.
Now he goes into Cap's Lion's Den, and it's like, what are you doing? When are you going to get rid of Shane Waldron? He should be in prison, coach. You know,
Hello, are you there? Are you there?
What's that? What's that?
It screws up some pretty good takes. Flus didn't hear any of it.
So that's where we are on the Monday of week 11 or the
Oh.
Monday of week 10. I don't even know. Are we across the bridge into week 11 yet? I think so. Boy, you know, look, like you put that product that you put out on the field on Sunday against the Green Bay Packers on Sunday. Look out. Look out.
Oh yeah. Yeah, look out for sure. And right now, you actually have a built-in excuse. So because right now you're without 3 of your starting offensive linemen, and we've not had a real update on those guys as of yet. But man, there is trouble ahead. There's another reoccurring theme with the Chicago Bears, and DeAndre Swift today, the Bears starting running back, brought that up. I'm going to let our listeners hear it, and they can to themselves say, yep, heard that before. Here's DeAndre Swift upon reviewing the film. This is what his reaction was.
I know in the heat of the moment, it's not always easy to see what's going on. But afterwards, as you're looking at video and stuff, are you seeing missed blocks, missed tackles, no opening? What do you see when you look at the film?
I just feel like everybody can be a little bit more intentional in their work, take a little bit more pride in the detail and the focus that goes into it, the preparation that goes into it throughout the week. So when come game time on Sunday, it's execution. Because we've seen it Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So I feel like that's where we can grow and get better. First and foremost, it starts on Wednesday. Yeah.
When you watch the film back, are there times where it looks like the effort could be better too?
I feel like everybody out there playing hard. I ain't about to sit here and say nobody is piss poor effort or anything like that. It's NFL caliber guys on the other side of the ball as well. So you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. But just come down to having pride in your work. That's what I feel.
You've been a part of some teams that have been very good. You've been a part of some teams that have had some down years. What are the hallmarks of the good teams versus the struggling teams in practice, so that you see that Monday, Thursday, or that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday detail?
It's different. As far as different teams I've been on, because they all been different in their own sense. I'm not here to compare. I'm not here to compare teams at all. But being where my feet are now, I'm not going to continue to be redundant, but we just got to do a better job of being more intentional about our work and just honing in on details. And there's little stuff that's all fixable. That's all things we can do better. But I'm not going to sit here and keep saying the same thing over and over again.
DeAndre, when you were a rookie with the Lions and Matt Patricia was fired.
I think we could cut it right there, actually, Studs, unless you wanted to hear all of that. But I think we got the gist of it, Dan, and that is that this is now the third player who is like really questioned practices. Cole Kmet did it first. DJ Moore did. You and I were both in the same little scrum with DJ Moore. He did it yesterday. Said we got to beyond the details even more in practice. And then you have something's going on in these practices. Like that's about as indicting as it gets of a coaching staff if the practices are as bad as they sound.
10 weeks of the regular season, 7 weeks of training camp, however many practices they had during the spring, early summer. You still don't know how to practice properly. You don't have the intentionality or the details. I mean, a lot of that is going to be coaching. Some of that's going to be player investment. A lot of it is going to speak to a total disconnect and a lack of buy-in back and forth between the two groups. I mean, this Groundhog Day is painful. It's exhausting. It's fatigue-filled. I think you could probably hear it in my voice on this Monday evening because it's not the first time we've been in this rodeo in Chicago. And so, like, are we going to just talk till we're blue in the face until the end of this regular season about the details and execution, and we just get this short? Like, somebody go win a football game. Somebody go figure out for 3 hours on a game day how to get rolling in a way that produces a win for the Chicago Bears. Because by my count, the Bears have lost 4 games this season that had they been sharp and had they played to their potential, they could have won. You're not going to win all of those, but that's 4 games. The last 3 and the one in Indianapolis that you crapped away, And so now you've got to live with the ramifications of that. The scary part is what the big picture ramifications are if they've got to go into a major reboot mode when the season ends.
At least after the Indianapolis win, it seemed like some of the expressions from the players about coaching and everything that was going on, coming out, and starting with Mercedes Lewis, at least it felt like they had figured something out because they went on to win the next 3 games. And I thought maybe, man, this is just me being naive again, that after the Washington loss, the devastating loss, and where everybody's coming out again, we're talking to team captains, we're talking to coaches, we're trying to figure it all out, and it just went the opposite way. And I thought it was silly to think that in the NFL, where all they talk about is the next game, we've got to put it behind us, seems like they never ever put that loss behind them. And maybe that's when the Bears knew they were bad too.
Right. I mean, they had a lead with 25 seconds to go, and they were on the verge of being 5-2. And then here we are again, 16 days later, and they're 4-5, going down the hill backwards, somersaulting with 3 of their toughest opponents coming up all in a row in a 12-day span, starting up. Good luck getting out of this tailspin.
Whatever you want.
Tail
Hey, we
spins.
we do need a new word for it because the tail spins have been happening forever with this franchise. So a tailspoon would be just fine. I think we pretty much covered it all for today. I'm sorry. I wish there was something more concrete going on. Dan and I, Bears are off Tuesday. Dan and I will be back out at Halas Hall on Wednesday. And Dan, what else? Anything else before we
I
get
got
out
a
of here?
footnote for you. When did you join the
Please.
beat?
I joined the beat in a great year. I joined in 2018, second year of Matt Nagy.
Ideally,
first year of Matt Nagy, right?
Because it is November 11th today, and that means it's the 6-year anniversary of something significant on the Bears beat. Do you recall where you were on the day of November 11th, 2018?
November 11th, 2000. So that's right around Thanksgiving. Where was I, Dan? Tell me.
This is a backwards happy birthday wish to my daughter because I watched this football game from Evanston Hospital on the day that she was born.
Aww.
It is the Cody Parkey quadruple doink game. The Bears won 34-22 over the Detroit Lions 6 years ago today. Mitch Trubisky threw for 355 yards and 3 touchdowns. Anthony Miller had a huge game. And of course, Cody Parkey, with some very significant foreshadowing, banged the uprights on 2 field goals and 2 extra points. Quadruple doink preceded the double doink. Just thought that was worth bringing up since, we heard from Cole Kmet last week, right, Grote, who said there's been more than 5 in terms of crazy weeks. He wasn't even here then. So if he wants to know how long the list goes for those of us who have been here around here a little bit longer, buckle in. It could take a while.
I enjoyed my time on the sidelines with the Bears, but I had to be on the sidelines for those. And we can do more on this another time. But
then you were in a helicopter the next week, right? When they were back out there practicing.
I can't disclose that yet. I think the disclaimer I signed was like 10 years or something like that. So I can't reveal all of my real Halas Hall information from those days. But my God, talk about the Cody Parkey double doink against Philadelphia in the playoffs, standing almost within inches of players. You talk about almost similar to the numbness and the stunnedness we saw from this 19-3 loss to the Patriots. So
we'll do a segment in the offseason called Numbness, and we'll just go through it all. It'll be a therapy session for everybody.
Comfortably numb. That's right. We'll get some of Studs' good stuff, and we'll all just get comfortably numb. Thank you to everybody for listening and watching the Take the North podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and we encourage you to get it right on the Odyssey app, but check it out on YouTube. Give us a like. We like it when you subscribe because that gets you inside information as well, and we certainly appreciate it every single time. For Dan Wiederer of the Chicago Tribune and of The Score, I am Mark Grote of The Score. Adam Studzinski is our fine producer. Have a great day, everybody, and thanks for listening and watching the Take the North podcast.
Great talk. See you out there.